supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America. Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose.
That rant of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is
I follow you on your social media posts that tears this country apart.
To address your falsehoods.
Oh, you can try all you want
in this country.
To not take responsibility for what you have said. Sir, you're making a mockery of this.
Kash Patel took over the FBI promising reform, but behind closed doors, he transformed the nation's premier law enforcement agency into a personal shield and a test of absolute loyalty. This story does not begin with quiet whispers inside FBI headquarters. It begins right here on Capitol Hill, where a sitting FBI director is being told directly to his face that his loyalty was never truly to the Constitution he swore to defend. And the senator delivering that message is not entirely wrong.
Well, right now, FBI Director Kash Patel is fielding questions on Capitol Hill from members of the Senate Judiciary Committee. The routine hearing, it has been going on now for more than 4 hours. Lawmakers are taking turns grilling Patel about his leadership, and some of the exchanges have gotten pretty heated.
If you want to see how far this loyalty-first approach has already gone and what it means for the FBI going forward, drop a like on this video and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Patel has already failed the loyalty test he was given? Let me know. In November 2025, reports emerged that Kash Patel had been using the FBI's private jet, a taxpayer-funded aircraft reserved for critical law enforcement missions, to fly to Pennsylvania and watch his girlfriend, country singer Alexis Wilkins, perform on stage. That alone was damaging enough, but it didn't stop there.
Now, what I want to go through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you were already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones...
You agree, Director Patel, that if one of your agents was unable to perform his or her duties because of excessive drinking, you would need to take corrective or disciplinary action. You agree with that statement?
We would implement the inspection review process, just like these other agencies have their own internal investigations, and complete that review.
As I said in my opening remarks, I really don't care about your personal life so long as you are able to perform your public and official responsibilities, which are awesome responsibilities. Multiple reports, including reporting by The Atlantic, have alleged episodes of excessive drinking, unexplained absences, and behavior that concern current and former FBI and DOJ officials. You have publicly denied those allegations and filed a defamation lawsuit. So today, as you testify before Congress, is it your testimony that those allegations are categorically false?
Unequivocally, categorically false.
So there have been no occasions during your tenure when FBI personnel...
Blocking President Trump from removing Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, pending a legal challenge. Steve Leisman joins us now with the latest. Hey, Steve.
Morning, Joe. Yeah, Fed Governor Lisa Cook prevailing in every major legal point in a decision last night from a D.C. District Court judge, clearing the way for her to keep her job and participate in the upcoming Fed meeting, but the White House suggesting the case is not over yet. Judge Giacob issued a preliminary injunction against the president's firing of Cook, writing, quote, "The public interest in Federal Reserve independence weighs in favor of Cook's reinstatement. That independence is critical in helping the nation's banking system to promote stability."
This behavior,
accused of mortgage fraud for stating in documents that 2 homes were her primary residence. President fired her in August. She immediately brought suit to stay the firing. The Justice Department opened an investigation, but Reuters reported recently that in the past 8 years, only one such case similar to Cook's has ever been prosecuted. Judge Cobb found that Cook is substantially likely to win on her claim that the president violated the Federal Reserve Act in firing her. On the 3 main elements, she found that firing for causes limited to actions taken in office, The court can review the president's decision in this regard, which the administration had argued it couldn't. And Cook was denied a right to respond to these charges. The judge several times relied on a recent Supreme Court comment that the Fed was different from other agencies. The White House spokesperson in a statement saying this ruling will not be the last say on the matter, and the Trump administration will continue to work to restore accountability and confidence in
news out of California. A judge says the Trump administration violated federal law when it decided to put National Guard boots on the ground in Los Angeles this summer. You may remember that deployment was in response to protests against immigration enforcement operations. But in a 52-page filing that was just out today, U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer found the administration broke an 1878 act that prohibits the use of military for domestic law enforcement.
Yeah, Mugo, that act that you mentioned, the Posse Comitatus Act, blocks the use of military for domestic law enforcement, and that's the main violation that the federal judge in California found. As part of the ruling, they say that the administration cannot use or deploy more National Guard troops to Los Angeles and California for specifically using them as civilian law enforcement. The 300 troops already there and not required to be.
From the very moment Kash Patel squeezed through a razor-thin 51-49 confirmation vote in February 2025, to one fundamental reality became entirely obvious. He did not come to serve the country. He came to serve one man. Within days of his arrival, senior officials started receiving cryptic messages. Secret meetings were called. A targeted list suddenly appeared. According to seasoned whistleblowers who reached out to Senator Dick Durbin, the underlying directive was brutally blunt: resign or be fired immediately. The internal notes from those private meetings contained one remarkably chilling line. Quote, KP wants movement at FBI. The exact same man who promised Congress under oath that there would be no political retribution was now personally directing a systematic purge of career officials overseeing counterterrorism and national security operations. Right now, FBI Director Kash Patel is fielding intense questions on Capitol Hill from members of the Senate Judiciary Committee. This supposedly routine hearing has dragged on for more than 4 grueling hours. Lawmakers are taking turns aggressively grilling Patel about his leadership tactics, and several of these exchanges have grown incredibly heated. One lawmaker explicitly stated that as much as Patel endlessly supplicates himself to the political will of Donald Trump rather than the United States Constitution, Trump has historically shown he is not loyal to people in Patel's position and will eventually cut him loose. The senator passionately argued that Patel's continuous spread of false information actively divides the nation rather than bringing the country together. If you want to see exactly how far this loyalty-first approach has already gone and what it fundamentally means for the FBI moving forward, please drop a like on this video and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Patel has already failed the ultimate loyalty test he was given? Let me know. In November 2025, deeply concerning reports officially emerged. Kash Patel had allegedly been using the FBI's private jet, a massive taxpayer-funded aircraft explicitly reserved for critical law enforcement missions, to fly to Pennsylvania simply to watch his girlfriend, country singer Alexis Wilkins, perform on stage. That alone was highly damaging to his reputation. But the situation rapidly escalated from there. The FBI also reportedly assigned a highly trained tactical SWAT team to serve as personal bodyguards for the director's girlfriend. When a New York Times reporter dared to investigate these specific incidents, FBI agents allegedly searched secure law enforcement databases to determine whether that reporter could be legally investigated for federal stalking violations. The Justice Department later concluded there was absolutely no legal basis to proceed with such an intimidation tactic. During the ongoing hearings, lawmakers systematically outlined these massive operational failures. They reminded Patel that even before his confirmation was finalized, he was already targeting career intelligence officials to orchestrate illegal firings. Furthermore, he explicitly targeted those involved in active cases tied to his political allies. Then came a far more serious national security revelation. In April 2026, after speaking with more than 24 current and former FBI officials, The Atlantic published a bombshell report stating that Patel had been routinely showing up to work in a state of conspicuous inebriation. During his sworn testimony, Patel was directly asked if he would take immediate disciplinary action against an active agent who was unable to perform their duties due to excessive drinking. Patel agreed, stating he would implement standard inspection and review processes just like any other internal investigation. However, multiple intelligence reports outlined repeated episodes of excessive drinking, unexplained absences, and highly concerning behavior that alarmed both FBI and DOJ officials. When pressed heavily under oath to confirm if these allegations were categorically false, Patel responded, unequivocally and categorically false. Yet the operational impact of this chaos was already highly visible. Patel allegedly had unexplained absences from headquarters. Time-sensitive, critical decisions regarding active, high-stakes investigations were being severely delayed simply because veteran career agents could not reach their own director. Multiple intelligence sources described his leadership not merely as an administrative management failure, but as a glaring national security vulnerability for the United States. This alarming administrative behavior is not happening in a vacuum. The exact same political administration that placed Kash Patel in charge of the FBI has been aggressively testing the absolute limits of executive power across other vital American institutions. Consider the Federal Reserve. A federal judge recently blocked the president from removing Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, pending a formal legal challenge. The president had fired her in August following sudden accusations of mortgage fraud regarding her primary residence documentation. The Justice Department immediately opened an investigation. However, Reuters reported that over the past 8 years, only one similar case had ever been actively prosecuted. Judge YouGov issued a strict preliminary injunction against the firing. She decisively wrote that the public interest in Federal Reserve independence heavily outweighs the administration's aggressive arguments, noting that this independence is absolutely critical to maintaining the economic stability of the nation's banking system. The judge found that Cook was denied the basic legal right to respond to the charges and reaffirmed a recent Supreme Court precedent stating that the Fed operates differently from standard executive agencies. The White House immediately released a statement signaling that this ruling will not be the last word, and they will continue fighting to restore what they view as accountability. Furthermore, this systematic pattern of pushing legal boundaries extends directly to military deployment. A federal judge in California recently ruled that the administration fundamentally violated federal law by deploying National Guard troops to Los Angeles to police domestic immigration protests. In a comprehensive 5-2-page filing, U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer determined the administration directly broke the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878, a critical foundational law that strictly prohibits the use of active military forces for domestic civilian law enforcement, whether it involves using FBI jets and tactical SWAT teams for personal errands, or testing exactly how far executive power can legally stretch across various independent agencies. The underlying message remains highly consistent. When absolute loyalty to one single man becomes the primary qualification for immense power, the fundamental rules designed to protect American institutions inevitably start to bend or break completely. If you want to intimately understand how this pattern connects to a massive historic constitutional battle happening right now at the Supreme Court and what it could mean for Patel's future, hit that like button and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you genuinely believe this kind of aggressive behavior is permanently becoming our new normal? The real narrative is no longer just unfolding in Senate hearing rooms. It is happening a few blocks away inside the Supreme Court. In May 2026, when Senator Chris Van Hollen aggressively pressed Patel on the drinking allegations during a budget hearing, Patel did not just deny it. He aggressively turned the tables, baselessly accusing the senator of drinking on the taxpayer's dime during a foreign trip to El Salvador. It was loud personal political theater, but it perfectly highlighted Patel's absolute refusal to face any genuine accountability. The much larger legal fight, however, is a case formerly titled Trump v. Slaughter. On the surface, it appears to be a dry, technical bureaucratic dispute over whether the president can legally fire a Federal Trade Commission official. In reality, it is a massive foundational battle over exactly how much unilateral power the executive branch holds over the entire government. For nearly 90 years, a landmark Supreme Court decision known as Humphrey's Executor has legally protected independent agencies like the FTC and SEC from being entirely dismantled by presidents seeking to install absolute loyalists. It legally ensured that officials could only be removed for specific, documented causes, not simply because they refused to bend the knee. The current administration is explicitly asking the Supreme Court to completely throw that established precedent out the window. If the justices agree, and many seasoned legal scholars believe a conservative majority is leaning exactly that way, the traditional guardrails limiting presidential power for decades will completely vanish. This directly impacts Kash Patel. Currently, Patel has no real institutional protection. He serves entirely at the absolute pleasure of the president. If the Supreme Court radically expands presidential removal powers, Patel becomes even more politically exposed. His survival, his authority, and his job will depend 100% on whether the president still finds him politically useful. This is the inescapable trap he is in. The exact same court that could hand the president unprecedented sweeping power is also the one that could leave a loyalist like Patel with absolutely no defense when that massive power eventually turns against him. What makes this internal dynamic profoundly dangerous is a stunning fact formally revealed in March 2026. According to Reuters, Special Counsel Jack Smith's investigative team had previously treated Kash Patel as a direct, active subject, not just a casual witness, in their high-stakes federal investigations into January 6th and the highly classified documents stored at Mar-a-Lago. They had formally subpoenaed over 2 full years of Patel's private phone records, secure text messages, and detailed financial data from Verizon. This conflict of interest is nearly impossible to logically overstate. Patel is now fully in charge of the exact same law enforcement agency that recently investigated him. Since taking absolute power, he has actively removed or reassigned multiple veteran agents who diligently worked on those specific cases connected to the president and Patel's own inner circle. It creates the inescapable, chilling reality that the nation's top law enforcement officer is systematically cleaning house, removing the very people who comprehensively know the intimate details of his own controversial past. Can an FBI director effectively lead a massive intelligence agency when thousands of career professionals constantly question if his daily orders are legally driven by the mission or by simple self-preservation? When veteran agents watch their respected colleagues get pushed out merely for doing their jobs, it completely shatters trust in the chain of command. By April 2026, the sweeping institutional damage was highly visible in the data. A comprehensive YouGov poll revealed that only 25% of Americans viewed Patel favorably, while 41% held a strictly unfavorable view. That is an exceptionally weak strategic position for the leader of the nation's top domestic law enforcement agency. Public confidence has always depended entirely on the perception that the director puts the institution above personal loyalty. Right now, that perception is catastrophically damaged. Here is the most critical geopolitical and domestic takeaway. Kash Patel sits in one of the most powerful positions in the global intelligence community. Yet, he possesses almost no actual power of his own. He is shielded only as long as he remains politically convenient. The very moment that specific calculation changes, he can be discarded without any institutional resistance whatsoever. What is truly deeply concerning is the lasting structural impact on the institution itself. You can easily fire directors and you can reassign agents, but you cannot ever force a massive organization to genuinely trust its leadership. Once that foundational trust is officially broken, the internal damage lasts for generations. This is no longer a simple story about a single controversial appointment. It is a stark, logical warning about what inevitably happens when personal loyalty becomes the sole currency of power inside complex organizations built to operate flawlessly above politics. If this comprehensive breakdown helped you understand the bigger strategic picture, hit the like button and leave a comment below. Do you believe real accountability is still structurally possible in this environment, or has the entire American system already permanently changed?